Hey YouTube! This week we're going to get really deep into the cutoff and resonance so you understand how you can use it expressively and musically. And for this I've got a great visual aid here in an oscilloscope which shows you what's going on in what we're hearing. And as you see here, we don't really have a square wave coming out of Technobox, even though this is already set to max square wave over here. And if you set it over here to saw, you see it kind of starts to take on the shape of a saw, but not really. And the reason for this is that both of those waveforms would be really boring on their own. And we're going to get deeper into the different types of waveforms and how they blend together later on, but let's just focus on the cutoff and resonance for right now. And to demonstrate this better, since the waveforms do not look like the waveforms we are expecting, I'm going to be using Korg MS-20 to demonstrate the cutoff. This uses pure square wave, as you see there. And by the way, this series will eventually lead to the IMS-20. All of this crazy that you're seeing right now will make sense to you by the time we get to it. So let's start synthesizing. We've got our square wave here, and as we apply the cutoff, we start to round it out, and we're already starting to get a much less annoying sound, right? But it's getting quieter. So we add in some peak, and this is referred to as resonance in most synthesizers. I'm not sure why Korg decided to call this peak, but as you see, we do have a peak on the oscilloscope. And as I cycle through the cutoff frequency, it changes where that peak is at. It's basically accentuating that frequency that we're cutting off at. So we're saying we want this frequency and we want, this much of it. And a lot of synthesizers will allow you to self-oscillate the resonator, which looks like this. You see we're getting kind of an unpleasant sound, but you notice it's still got that square shape to it. And that's the essence of subtractive synthesis, or analog synthesis, where we're taking a tone and we're adjusting it with a filter. Now we're in finger bassline, which is very similar to Technobox 2, and you might even recognize some of the layout here, where we've got our slide and accent and all the notes down here at the bottom, and we step through it. And here is our cutoff going across on the X axis, and here is our resonance going up, and you'll see how it's creating that peak there. And this is our decay, and this is our envelope mod, which is increasing the amount of decay that we have. We'll get back to that in a second here. I wanted to show you this. I don't actually recommend this over Technobox, because all you get is this one synthesizer. In Technobox 2, you get 2 synthesizers and 2 drum parts. This has no drum parts. This is handy, though, once you get into MIDI routing, as this will take a MIDI clock input. But if you don't know what a MIDI clock input is, you don't need to worry about this one at all, and you're much better off with Technobox 2. But I'm going to play for you a series of 16 C notes, just like we've been doing in Technobox 2 and the IMS-20. And you see we're getting similar behavior here. I know the oscilloscope looks crazy. Even at maximum cutoff, it's still rounded, and we round it even further as we're going down like that. And you get to see on this graph exactly what that looks like. We're taking this huge area of frequency and reducing it. Now we're only getting the very low frequencies here. And we add a little peak, and now we got some resonance. And we can Move that across. And notice how the resonance, the peak area here, is getting larger as we move across. That's a behavior of resonance and how the frequencies are all working together. But you can take it up and get some crazy stuff going on here. And this is where the expressive elements of subtractive synthesis come in, because you can, we're just doing one tone here, the C note, and we can get all these different sounds. We're going from like a didgeridoo to fucking crazy. I'm going to leave it in the center here and start to show you decay. I didn't do a very good job of explaining decay in envelope mod. Let me start with envelope mod. That's this axis on this, and the knob on Technobox 2 does the exact same thing, where it increases the amount of the decay. So now you see we've got this huge decay, and the decay is this peak here, which is causing the cutoff frequency to spike up and then slope down. And the amount of decay changes the slope. So you hear how that's changing the sound here. Right now it's doing this really crazy fast zoom, 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 zoom. But now it's slowing down a little bit. And you can change how much of that you're getting with the envelope mod. Playing around with this. Look at how much variation we're getting. This is, once again, just C notes. So let's go back to Technobox. So once again, we're in a pattern with just C notes. And you see we're getting the same behavior that we were getting in the other programs. And you'll notice as you begin to learn your way around Technobox that you're going to be able to transfer these skills into other synthesizers, since they all use pretty much the same sort of idea behind them. If anybody ever makes a FM synthesizer for the iPad, we'll even get into that. So your homework is to try to make a song using just C notes and see how creative you can get just playing with these four controls here, the cutoff, resonance, envelope mod, and decay. And you'll find that it works a little bit more interestingly if you throw in some variations to the C notes. Like, let's turn this one to a down note here. So it's going down an octave on 1. Throw some drums on that and you've got yourself a song. I'm going to try to do these videos at least once every other week, so be sure to subscribe to keep up to date.